weird figure loitering in your local comic shop, and today I wanted to talk to you about, specifically for the spooky season, I wanted to talk about Scarecrow. He's a DC supervillain, I'm sure you know who he is. He was first introduced in World's Finest issue 3, 1941, but I wanted to specifically talk about when he became a Yellow Lantern. If you don't know what the Yellow Lanterns are, they are so you've got the Green Lanterns, you've got Yellow Lanterns. I mean, there are more colors than that, but so Green Lanterns, they operate off of willpower, so their rings are powered by emotion. And the Yellow Lanterns, they're powered by fear. And so I thought, what better way to get into the spooky season by talking about when the guy whose whole shtick is fear gets the fear button. The only problem with that is there are two separate comic lines where he becomes a Yellow Lantern. There's Blackest Night, which came out in 2010, I believe, and then the New 52 Sinestro comics. I don't know, I think that was 2011. So like right after DC did their like 2011 like rebirth thing, when the New 52 universe was announced. So I thought it'd be fun to read the comics, discuss those a little bit. The only problem with that is collectively he gets like 4 pages of content. So this will probably be a pretty short video. We'll start with Blackest Night, I suppose. The whole run of Blackest Night is about the Black Lanterns, which is, they're basically necromancers led by William Hand, and he is raising Justice League members from the dead to take over Earth or raise the entity. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. I'm doing things a little bit differently this time, if you couldn't. Whereas last video I had a script, I wrote everything out. This time because they were such small runs, and Scarecrow wasn't really in them that much, I just figured just do it by memory. So Blackest Night, the necromancers, he's raising members of the Justice League from the dead, including Batman, by the way. Batman's dead. I bring that up to say that when we see Scarecrow in that iteration, he is tormenting people because he's trying to get Batman to come back. Because, I mean, no one knows that Batman is dead. And Batman is the only thing that he fears. So, like, if you don't know anything about Scarecrow, his real name is Jonathan Crane. He was a professor at Gotham University, and his whole PhD was about fear and how it affects the mind. And so that led to him creating fear toxin, which is like a poison. Sometimes it's liquid, sometimes it's gas, sometimes it's powder. He gets the ring, and because how this works is the rings can be deputized to other people, and so to defeat the main Black Lantern, William Hand, the corpse, the color corpse, whatever, I don't know what they're fucking called. Basically every color of the ring, they were like, well, we need more. So they deputized their rings, so for the next 24 hours, another person of the ring's choosing would show up, and they'd be a ring bearer for 24 hours. The Yellow Lantern ring went to Scarecrow. The Orange Lantern ring, which is Greed, went to Lex Luthor. The Red Lantern ring, which was Rage, went to Mira. If you don't know who she is, she's like Aquaman's wife, Queen of Atlantis. The pink ring, which is Love, went to Wonder Woman. And blue, which is Hope, went to the Flash. Green didn't go to anybody. Nobody got a green ring. It's just Hal.
Hey, so editing figure here, I forgot to mention that the indigo ring, which is Compassion, goes to the Atom, and I'm pretty sure that the reason that Green Lantern's ring doesn't go anywhere is because there's a Guardian of Oa, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna induct myself into the Green Lanterns to help. But I don't know that for sure. That's just a theory, I guess.
Scarecrow is having a blast because he's finally feeling fear again. Because through the power of the ring, he can feel this fear. And so he's having a great time. Fuck Batman. I don't need him anymore. He's good to go. And he's fully leaning into the Scarecrow bit. He's throwing flying monkeys at people. He's having a great time. And then Lex Luthor, who, again, he has the greed ring, he gets jealous of how much fun Scarecrow is having, I guess, and he decides, I have to have that. So Scarecrow has the ring for about 5 minutes before Lex Luthor tears it off of his finger. We don't see him again for the rest of the comic run, which is really funny because we see everyone else. So they have like a moment at the end where they become White Lanterns, and they use that to defeat the Black Lanterns. But we just don't see him again anymore. That leads us to the Sinestro comic. With the Sinestro comic for the New 52, it's about people called the Pale Vicars, and what they do, they drain you of emotion, they make you into a little husk for, I assume we get kind of like a snippet of them, like, of the ones that have been infected, kind of like raising from the quote-unquote dead for a moment. So I have to imagine that they like become husks and then they become Pale Vicars in their own right. The Green Lanterns are gone. They have just disappeared. I don't know why. I have not read any of the other Lantern comics for the New 52. I'm sure that's a whole other subset of story that's going on that I have no idea. So since the Green Lanterns have disappeared, it's up to the Sinestro Corps to become the space cops that we all know they can be. So they take over for the Green Lanterns. They end up at Earth because Sinestro needs to talk to Black Adam, who has defeated the who they called the Bishop before. And he's kind of like the leader of the Pale Vicars. So he's talking to Black Adam. Black Adam's like, well, I have his body in a tomb, so we can look, and maybe then you can kind of see who this new guy is and deal with that. Once they open up the tomb, Sinestro kind of immediately realizes that it's a guardian of Oa, like a dead one. And that's bad because it starts to wake up. It wakes up, they start fighting, it kind of like reconstitutes itself, like it was a skeleton and now it's like a guy. All of the Pale Vicars kind of converge on Earth. Sinestro realizes, like, I need more Yellow Lanterns because this is going horribly. Because again, the Green Lanterns are gone. The other lanterns don't really do anything unless they absolutely have to. So it's just yellow. There's a blue here too. I don't really know what he does. He helps though. So they're fighting, and the first kind of round of rings goes to 4 people that we see. Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, Harley Quinn, I don't think I need to explain that one, and Wonder Woman, who once again gets a ring. So they all get Yellow Lantern rings. Scarecrow somehow manages to do even less this time. We don't really see him do much of anything. Black Adam gets a yellow ring, Superman gets a yellow ring. We don't see him at all in the comic itself, But Red Hood, as a Yellow Lantern, gets a ring, which makes me sad, because why didn't I get to see that? Like, you couldn't just throw him in there? John Constantine gets a ring? And because it's a Sinestro comic, we more focus on him than anyone else. So he uses the power of his big brain to basically dive into the Guardian's mind as the Guardian is trying to dive into his mind. And he basically just tells it, like, no, you work for me now. And I'm going to dredge up every bit of fear that you might have felt at some point in your life. And that allows him to destroy the Guardian. The Pale Vicars all start to die off. He's weak. He's dying. So he tells his daughter that she's going to leave the Yellow Lanterns. If you know anything about Sinestro, you know that his daughter is a Green Lantern. He turned her into a Yellow Lantern right before the Green Lanterns disappeared. He didn't want her to disappear because I guess somewhere deep inside Sinestro is like a kernel of love, but it's mostly she's useful. She decides to leave the Yellow Lanterns, and her first act as leader is to take away all of the Yellow Lanterns or all of the rings that had been given up until that point on Earth. So Scarecrow we didn't really see him do anything, but we do get to see how upset he is at the fact that he will no longer be able to feel the fear that he is, again, kind of addicted to. And I do think it's kind of funny that so when Deathstroke's ring flies away, he's like, well, I don't need you anyways, so you've done literally nothing for me in the 2 seconds that I had you, so bye. And that's it. That's it. And I was so excited. I was so hyped for this idea of having this guy his whole thing is fear. Now he is a Yellow Lantern, which feeds off of fear. And I thought that was super interesting. I thought that was so cool. And we didn't really get anything, and that's fine. I know that Scarecrow's he's not a huge villain, I don't think. But he's like my top 2 favorite villain, DC villain. It's like Deathstroke and then Scarecrow. And sometimes they switch it up. Depends on how long I've been playing Arkham Knight for. This video is really short, which is kind of upsetting. So I'm just gonna yap for a minute. If you want some good Scarecrow content, I recommend Batman Begins 2005 with Christian Bale. That's pretty good. It's Cillian Murphy. He does a great job. The Arkham games, I recommend as well. Asylum City, Knight. He's the main antagonist of Knight, so I recommend that one above all others. A little biased because Arkham Knight is my favorite game. Camera angle is all fucked up several times because my cats keep pushing things around. And then it fell over. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City both have pretty good Scarecrow segments, but he is the main antagonist of Arkham Knight, so I recommend that one. It is a series, but with how Arkham Knight is, you could probably just read a recap for the past 2 games and you'll be fine. And I don't actually know if he's in Arkham Origins. I've never played it. Batman the Animated Series on HBO Max is also pretty good. He's in it. He's not in it a lot, but I do like that version of Scarecrow. And I think that's my top 3 Scarecrows. Arkham Knight Scarecrow has got to be at the top because he's fantastic. His voice actor does an amazing job. His design is really great. Contemplated talking about the first issue that Scarecrow's in, which, like I mentioned earlier, is World's Finest, issue 3, 1941. But he doesn't use the fear toxin yet. If you watched my last video, I talked about how Scarecrow doesn't use fear toxin until he shows up again in the 1960s. And so he's in World's Finest issue 3, and then he doesn't show up again at all until the 1960s, and that's when he uses fear toxin. So not really anything to talk about because he just uses a gun. He just breaks into buildings, he points a gun at people, and they get scared and he leaves. That's really it. I guess I'll leave you with those recommendations. Check them out if you are interested. If you've been watching this whole video and you're like, who the fuck is she dressed as? I am dressed as Red Hood, without the helmet because screw that. But specifically Red Hood from the Arkham Knight DLC. So, if you're like, well, that doesn't look like a Red Hood costume, I know that's probably why, because the DLC is, I don't know anyone who's played it except for me and my family, like my direct family. So, but I'll stop yapping. So I guess if there's a comic character you want me to talk about, or a comic issue line that you want me to talk about, or that you think might be interesting, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed, if you want to see more. I don't know what day it is, but I hope you have a good one.